Hello guys, welcome to Global Happenings. Today we have a trending news here for you, and the headline of the news reads: see what Falana promised to do to Buhari if he allocates oil blocks to individual. But before we continue with details of the news and further analysis, we'd like to encourage you to please subscribe to our channel by clicking on the below subscribe button and also the bell icon that will pop up, so that anytime we publish videos, you can get notification. All right, let's consider the news in detail.
Human rights lawyer Chief Femi Falana warned President Muhammadu Buhari against allocating oil blocks to individuals in the country. Falana vowed to drag the president to court if he does otherwise. He spoke as a guest lecturer at a public lecture titled Politics in Nigeria, finding a balance between political interest and the demand for good governance, organized by Emere Convergence 2019. On the proposed $29.6 billion loan approval being sought by the President and the Senate, which has already been given, Falana said the nation will be plunged into perpetual indebtedness, which generation unborn will bear part of the brunt if the Senate would approve the loan. According to him, the nation is currently serving its debt with 50% of its annual budget. Instead of taking loans, he advised the present administration to block leakages in the system. He therefore called on Nigerians to take their destiny in their hands. On the allocation of oil blocks, the human rights lawyer said none of the beneficiaries of oil blocks in the past had the technology to explore the oil, but rather they travel abroad to look for companies they sell or lease the oil blocks to at huge amounts of money. Falana described the sharing of oil blocks as a corrupt way politicians share the wealth among themselves and their associates. On restructuring, he said that the present administration was not interested in the issue of its restructuring and that Nigerians should stop thinking President Buhari would do it. On Sore's travels, Falana expressed worries that the present administration prefers obeying other countries' court verdicts while disobeying the ones in Nigeria. If you continue to disobey court orders, no country will invest in this country. If you want Nigeria to work, then our government must obey court orders. He described Sowore as a victim of injustice. Senator Bode Olajumoke charged politicians to shun politics of bitterness for the development of the nation. Governor Rotimi Akeredolu enjoined the people to always express their grievances in a way that would not encroach on the rights of others. One of the discussants, Chief Shola Ebisini, condemned the lopsidedness in the appointment in the Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC), saying Ondo State should produce the next managing director of the commission. He was, however, advised by Falana to drag the federal government to court, saying it's a breach of the act that established the commission.
All right, thank you very much. A lot has been discussed there, but our focus right now is the issue of allocating of oil blocks to individual. And just like Falana has said, this is a way of the very few sharing the wealth of the nation. The very few. They are just the ones who come together and see how they can, increase their earnings via this fraudulent way, because the truth is that this is actually a fraudulent step. Before you know, they pick, according to Falana and some experienced guys, they say they will just, go give the right of to explore oil to other international companies who comes in here and they, explore, import the oil and get themselves very rich and pay some royalties to, the owners of this oil well. And this guy is saying this is not how it should be, that the government of the day should stop the issue of allocating oil blocks. These guys are not better than Nigerians. Other Nigerians, for God's sake. I was thinking that as this government is coming on board, They will be working for the generality of the whole country, where everything that have been taken over by individuals, especially those things that are public property, should be returned back to the federal government, and they see how they can work around it so that they can better the life of the people. But that's not what is happening, and I think that is why this guy is threatening. My colleague is here. What do you have to say about this threat given by Falana if the president allocates oil well to individuals?
Well, this is not a new thing that just happened. It has actually been in existence for a while, for a very long while. Let's take a little retrospect to the past, just very little. Just some few weeks ago, Governor Wike cried out. He said that it's not a party thing. He doesn't care if these people are his fellow party members, if they are from opposition party, but what he knows that he is the governor of Rivers State, and he's there to protect not just the people but also the assets, which also includes the oil wells. You could just imagine. And he said, look, he doesn't care, and it's a one-man army, that he's first the governor of his people, governor of the state, and his first interest lies with his people. That anyone who is coming close because of the asset and the oil wells, they should get ready to have him to deal with. Now that is a governor who knows what prosperity is, who knows that in selling out the asset of the state in form of oil blocks and oil wells, he is shortchanging his people. And to me, it's not a wonder, really. Let's be real. It's not a wonder that somebody who lives as far as the north will own an oil well in maybe Rivers in Akwa Ibom. You now ask, is it that your umbilical cord is tied in Akwa Ibom, or your great-grandfather was born in Rivers? How come you own an oil well? Those days, way back those days, we were privileged with some information where they say, when you're traveling in the air, when they're using a helicopter then to travel to the air to count the number of oil wells, you see there's some on the through the air. You see for Nigerian flag in some of the oil wells. There's some without flags. You're like, why? But these ones are still in our territory. They say, no, those particular oil wells don't belong to Nigeria per se. It belongs to individual. You now ask the question, why should an individual own oil well? Wherever that oil well is located, oil block is located, should belong to the state. Now imagine if it is located in somewhere like Akwa Ibom or somewhere like Rivers or even Ondo, then the people of Ondo first, then the person who is the chief security officer, that's the governor, should be in charge. So why should an individual come, liaise, walk around and own an oil well, which he or she had no idea how God created it and it came into that state? And you begin to see the level of impunity, level of corruption has gone way beyond. And what is even annoying about this whole thing is the fact that they will list it out. They don't even have the technology to exploit. They will not list it out to. That's why you get to see some funny looking companies around. You begin to wonder, who are they? And you see some of them, being enlisted as one of the 10 richest people in Africa, 3 richest. You begin to wonder, is it buying and selling that they do that made them the richest people? And you are buying and selling now. How come you have not been enlisted? Sometimes they begin to say, is it contracts they do? They know what they do. And Nigerians are generally suffering. And those who are in the corridor of power know what we are saying. If things are done properly, an average Nigerian should be paid some stipends. Even the aged in Nigeria should be paid some stipend, whether you work or not, should be paid some stipend that should take care of it in your old age. Take care of it in your old age. But that's not true. That's not going to happen in the nearest future, because corruption has eaten so deep in Nigerian economy, so deep in Nigerian fiber, that when you come in, what you're thinking of right now is what you gain. What do I gain in this relationship I'm entering with these people who are in NDDC related states? Can I come close and say, after people are buying oil well, can I get my own oil well too? Sometimes they come close to some of these governors and see how they can liaise. The reason why we even get to hear some of this is because maybe 1 or 2 persons have spoken up in public. Sometimes, most times, they don't speak up in public. The transaction is consummated in private, and they start doing. Next, you begin to hear Forbes to carry with the richest person or the 10th richest person in the world. Then they will now keep a font that's very funny, and that's why we are where we are today in Nigeria. Thank God for people like Wike, but for how long would he, after a while, if he doesn't have backup, he may likely succumb because the pressure may be too much, because it may not just be one person pressuring him to give him one oil, because oils are really much. Some of these oil producing states, God has truly blessed Nigeria, so that some of these oil producers have so many oil wells. Some of them are going into some numbers that's amazing, and they're very much rich, they are very much flowing, and they're like, please, we want this one. And that's where you get to see some connivance that you do not understand. But be that as it may, I really thank God that Falana is saying is going to, if such happens, is going to drag President Buhari to court. But I'm wondering, how would he actually achieve this? So what is still in custody? Nothing has still been done on that.
All right, thank you very much for your analysis. I can still remember when Allocates came up and told Nigerians about how she became rich, that it was via the benevolence of President Olusegun Obasanjo giving her oil well and all of that. That story for another day. Let's leave it there. Please go to our comment section. Let us interact. What do you think about this threat that has been issued by Falana to President Muhammadu Buhari?